need that yet.
Hmm. Hello there.
Oh, how is everybody?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
How are you?
Good. Good morning, Vladimir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Right, I am in a different location now because my place is to be, the carpet is to be cleaned, so I will have to sit here in Radha's office. Let me remove all these. So today we had to take another hymn. But before we do, maybe since I'm in another office, I would ask your views on what we are doing here and what did you learn from Surya Savitri and maybe some insights. I want to hear from you something. Otherwise, I'm going ahead with my things. It's only 2 hymns are left to Surya, and we are done with Surya Savitri hymns. Do you see any resemblance with Sri Aurobindo's yoga, or let us start with there? And if you do, then what it is? Could you just give some thoughts to it? Add some thoughts to it. No thoughts coming. Right. Something else is separating us from that consciousness is this, as Agastya Rishi says, whenever you try to reach to it, something else appears in between and separates us from it.
I think what struck me is the half-done work as being really important in Sri Aurobindo's the ascent and the descent in the integral yoga.
Can you elaborate a bit?
That's as far as I got so far. I'll think a second and then I will. I don't want to just talk.
Okay, no issue, but maybe some insight. What is half down work and why it is so strikingly true? What kind of truth is in it? By the way, this half done work is everywhere. Yes, so we can see it. It is in the very idea of mukti, and integral yoga accepts mukti as half done work. Yeah? So once you are liberated, it's only half work is done. So you found your unborn self, and now the other half of work is to be done. So to say, you have to come into manifestation with this liberated spirit and start changing things. Yeah. Transforming things in accordance with that spirit, allowing it to be part of this manifestation in full. That means preparing instruments to receive or to be responsive or open or subtle enough to receive the presence of the spirit. And by that, transforming the whole nature, all relations in nature, making nature truly divine. That is another half of work which was never done. And that has to be done by Surya. Surya takes that half work done by the night. First of all, night herself does this. She takes the work which Surya brought first in evolution, reweaves it in her own way, so to say, and manifests all the forms in evolutionary perspective, yeah, on the evolutionary path. It is one half, and then the other half is to be to find the spirit, and the other half, 3 halves, is to complete the work of nature, which she took from the divine to do here, and And then evolutionary came to the point where the discovery of the divine was possible. And once it was done, so the other half is to be done. Nature has to be divinized. So in an interesting, I have somewhere a scheme of 3 different cycles. You remember we saw it once? No? No, you don't remember? The three and a half cycles of the involution. Sherbrino speaks interestingly about involution and evolution in these 4 terms: involution, devolution, involution, and evolution. So basically there were 2 involutions, 1 devolution in between, and then evolution. And that evolution comes to the top to the supermind arrives, nature arrives to the supermind, and then the supermind has to do that work. The supermind has to descend. And this would be the 3rd involution. I'm speaking kind of symbolically here. Of course, there is only 1 involution. Well, not 1, 2 involutions. What is the first involution? The first involution is the fall of the spirit. The fall of the 4 first emanations, 4 Asuric powers, those very 4 which savagery came to recover. He spoke about this. This is the symbolism of the whole savagery. 4 major personalities. Yeah, the fall of the light of consciousness, the fall of the bliss, the fall of the truth, and the fall of the life itself becoming death. So these 4 emanations fell into their opposites. This is first involution. They fell from the heights of their supreme consciousness, bliss, truth, and life into their opposites, into the darkness, suffering, falsehood, and death. Then there was a conscious involution done by the spirit. The Divine Mother spoke to the spirit and said that, look, what happened to the divine? This creation is not. They fell into their opposite. They are not. So to say, not with capital N. And he said, okay, find in me, in the infinite divine being, the force, the consciousness, the truth and life, which is stronger than those fallen emanations, and precipitate with that consciousness, bliss, truth and life, these fallen emanations. So to say, plunge into them to bring them back, to redeem their status, to bring them back to their self-awareness. So this new force was found, and it plunged into the darkness of the first emanations. And started its work. Then from that moment, evolution started. So what we have, the first fallen emanations is the first involution, and then it became a kind of a finished creation with 2 halves, with the supreme half and the fallen half. 2 oceans were created, the super conscious ocean and subconscious or inconscient ocean. Yes. Infinity, the 2 infinities were created, as it were. Then from the superconscient infinity, the delegation was sent, the spirit was sent, the souls, what we represent, psychic beings, the sparks of that flame, plunged, the flame, Agni, plunged into the inconscient ocean, and the evolution started. So there's second involution, the plunge of the supreme into the darkness of the inconscient, yes. and the evolution starts from that moment. What is evolving? The fallen emanations are evolving with the help of the involved spirit. The instruments of knowledge, the redemption, the slow redemption is taking place, and these fallen emanations coming back to their self-awareness. So this is the first evolution. After two involutions and devolution in between. Devolution means it is actually completed the cycle, the first fallen cycle. Then the second cycle will be completed with evolution, when we rise to the top of our possibilities, to the supermind, and then supramental creation is to take place. And that is Savitri. Savitri, the daughter of the sun, has to come down and bring this supermind down. That's why she refuses to go into the everlasting day and disappear there. There was the question we were looking into it, which she refuses because it does not solve the issue of transformation of the fallen emanations. And so the work will be not done. So she will disappear in the light, and the major work of transformation is not finished. So she refuses it. She wants to bring those four emanations back to their self-awareness. That's why she asks for peace and calm. And that means to liberate the spirit from the human beings. Then she asks for oneness, that is to bring back the bliss into the action, yes, to actualize the bliss, to transform the load of suffering into the bliss. And then she asks for Ananda, yes? Oh, Ananda is the last.
Energy.
Energy, yes. Energy, it is her thing. So energy, the force which was separated from consciousness, should not be separated anymore from consciousness. Consciousness and force have to go together, one in one, and that is supramental creation. That when that is done, then there is no more gap between what we want to do and what is done. There is an immediate effective work of consciousness, and that is supramental manifestation. Once that is done, then the Ananda, the eternal Ananda, the transcendental Satchit Ananda can manifest, and Ananda is the source of our souls, and souls can live forever. Then immortality is conquered. Satyavan will live forever. Satyavan is a soul of humanity, does not have to die anymore. It can stay in manifestation because it is connected to the transcendental Ananda, to the source of its origin, from where it came. So that source is becoming here a part of this manifestation. So this is the why we need Surya. Surya is that
So, Vladimir,
mm,
can I say something?
yes, please.
That hymn of Vashishta that you had read to us about when Savitar comes bearing all the riches, and then he's carrying the soul of man, and he is pulling down to manifest the soul of man, and then he's also pushing it forward, the darkness into light. That reminds me something of this boon that Savitar has a big role in this. I mean, he's everything then in Savitri, because he's, he holds the souls moving between earth and heaven. And you said the antariksha, and with one hand he's introducing the souls, and with the other he's pushing.
Yes, uplifting them up.
Yeah. So
So
that reminded me very much of this boon.
right, and this descent from the supermind is always there. The Sanite pioneers I saw rushing down. These are the forces which are coming with supramental manifestation, yes, which is to be effectuated by savagery, basically by the Divine Mother. And it was done by the Divine Mother. We do not acknowledge it yet. We do not see it yet because we are so blinded by our habitual view on life and our habits of consciousness. But in 1956, she did exactly that. She brought the supramental touch upon the earthly atmosphere, into the physical world. The supramental link was made. And she said after that, that my work is done. So there is nothing else to do.
I think this 3.5 involution, evolution you had done with us with the numbers.
Right. From 1 to 22, right. Yes, it is that, exactly. I didn't find it on this computer, but in what file was that? I could project.
When we were doing the numerology, one, two,
Oh,
3, 5, 6,
numerology.
7, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 goes up, and then 11, 12 comes down. You remember?
Yes.
It is the Anna Prana Manas Vijnana Ananda Chittapas.
Right. So 7 worlds, and what is interesting, 3.5, because there are 3 cycles, full cycles of 22 will be, what is interesting that 22 arcanum of the Kabbalistic system, yeah, is fitting perfectly into this thinking. And the 22nd one, the last one, is called the Divine Mother. In the Kabbalistic system, it is called the Divine Mother. And there is a naked woman dancing in the full sunlight. This is the picture of that. With the, with the right hand, she touches the sky, and with the left foot, she touches the earth. So there is earth, sun, sky, and a naked woman dancing. And this is the fullness of mysterium. Yes, when Mother is totally manifested, there is nothing to hide. There is nothing to, symbolically to understand. Everything is nakedly true, and absolutely beautiful. And heaven and earth are connected in one creation, equal and one. So the number 22 is that realization which will come with supramental manifestation. Supramental manifestation is actually the 3rd involution in that picture.
Yeah.
It comes from the 16 is on the top, then 17, 18, 19. 19 is interesting arcanum, breaking the ceiling. This is what Mother did. She broke the ceiling, and it is in the physical. Into the physical, the supramental came, breaking the ceiling. That, And then we have 20, the head receiving the light. I'm speaking Kabbalistic language now. How it is the head receiving the light. When the top is broken, then we have this perception of the total, change in our mental vital nature. And then we have 21, which is very mysterious arcanum, which is called radiation, or a joker, a fool. Because the behavior will be in such a way that it's as we behave as if we are fools, but we are totally trusting the force. And so we behave in the ordinary kind of fashion framework, but inwardly we are absolutely trusting the leading force. And the picture is that the fool is fully loaded with all things. He pulls very heavy chains. He steps into the crocodile open mouth as if he doesn't know that crocodile is in front. He does not even look at crocodile. He steps and the crocodile goes forward. the fool. This is very mysterious thing, very difficult to interpret. They call it also zero arcanum, where you arrive at absolute denial of any danger. Yeah? Because
Or you can say he has absolute faith and surrender.
yes, good. Yeah, faith and surrender, good. And then after 21st and 21st, you know, these sacred numbers, 1, 13, 21st, these are three numbers, or the three arcanum of the mother. They call it of the mother. So three letters of the mother, Aleph, Mem, and Shin in the Hebrew alphabet. This Shin is this idiot or this fool. And then the 22, when we come to the supermind, we are evolving. There would be second evolution to the supermind. After supermind touched the physical being, the second evolution will take place. So we had devolution, evolution, and second evolution. Three rising to the supermind, yeah? 3 times. This is the third time with the soul. Before first one, it was without soul. It was a looping to the supermind, making it a habitat for the soul. Then the soul descended and evolved to the supermind, yes. And then supermind descended, and with the soul and a new nature, yeah, transforming it, the soul is rising to the supermind with transformed nature. And that is what is waiting for us in the future.
So the supramental, which is number 22, goes right down from the Vijnana to Anna. So it's going to transform everything.
Right. There will be no difference anymore between the heaven and earth equal and one. Yes. So to say, earth herself becomes the embodiment of consciousness. By the way, this is all what we have to know. If we understand this, we will see it in the Veda, in Sri Aurobindo, in the Mother, everything what is happening in Savitri. It's all about this event. First of all, the descent of the supermind, that is the Savitri, bringing this boon of 100 sons of Satyavan and me, of the soul and the Divine Mother, of this Lord and the Divine Mother. That means the supermind descends into the manifestation, when there are many. And then from there, this new group starting to reconfirm on every level to the supermind all what is in nature. And this is something which is waiting for us in the future. It's an amazing thought, actually. This concrete vision was never given to us by no one. And then it explains why it is 3.5 Kundalini Shakti, Maha Kundalini. 3.5 because 3 cycles and half is Satchit, Ananda and Vijnana, which is like a tail sticking out, which is not involved, as it were. So you have 3 cycles fully. Involution, devolution, involution, evolution, supramental manifestation and supramental evolution of nature, 3 cycles full. And then we have Satchitananda, which is always beyond and being manifested here. The infinity of the superconscient ocean. Now, the central point here is the supermind. Yes, it is Satchitananda Vijnana. From Vijnana, we have the descent. We do not have descent from Satchitananda. Vijnana makes the descent. First fall. It is because of Vijnana, which links Satchitananda, and lower we say links, but it also manifests. It projects Satchitananda into the darkness. The fallen emanations are what? Where do they fall? Yeah? They fall in consciousness. They fall in awareness who they are. They forget who they are slowly, gradually. First, the fall is of the consciousness in light. Consciousness is to fall first. And then once the awareness is kind of veiled or darkened, when the light of awareness is darkened, then it drags with it the delight into the suffering. Because where there is no full awareness, the delight turns into the intense pain and suffering. Suffering is nothing but the delight, intense delight, which is lacking awareness. Narrowed in consciousness, darkened in consciousness. This is the secret of our pain. Our pain is nothing but delight darkened by consciousness. If we can widen the consciousness in that pain, pain transforms into intense, joy. Sri Aurobindo was transforming pain into this ananda bliss by widening the consciousness there. He has this Scorpio bite, which was very intense pain, and then he transformed it into pure bliss.
So actually, Savitar is the action of the supermind?
Yes, it is his consciousness force. And Savitri is the daughter of Savitar, who sent here to do the work, to connect consciousness and force in every action. So, with fallen emanations, once more, maybe you lost me on the way, or I lost you on the way, rather. So, once the consciousness is darkened, then the bliss turns into the suffering, slowly, gradually. The less we have consciousness, the more we have power, the more the bliss becomes painful. Yeah? And that's why in the darkest, in the lowest level, everything is like a pain. Even happiness feels like pain. Pleasure is kind of mixture of pain and very sharp kind of pain bliss thing. And once these two are fallen, they drag the truth, the supermind itself, they drag into falsehood. The truth is distorted by the darkened consciousness and pain is already adding to it the reality, and the truth has to interpret that pain as true and becomes falsehood. And only then the infinite and immortal life of the being can be turned into death, not before. That's why the fallen emanations are in this order. First consciousness, then bliss, then truth that becomes the falsehood. And Sri Aurobindo says the death was born from this falsehood, from vast sustaining this falsehood, self of falsehood and not of the darkness, not from the night, not from the suffering, but from the falsehood itself. The self of death was born. Because if truth is still sustaining this transition of Satchitananda, it cannot be done. The death cannot be achieved. It's very difficult for him to die, really. It's nearly impossible. So it had to be gradually done with a lot of effort to arrive at death. So, and you can see the very similarity with the Semitic tradition also, because Eve is interpreted as consciousness force. And she actually tempts Adam to try the apple. She starts the deviation from the heaven towards earth. Yeah. Consciousness is to fall first. Without it, nothing can be changed. And consciousness is to be recovered first. Again, we cannot recover anything here unless we recover first consciousness. We have to become aware of who we are. We have to find ourselves. And if we don't have that awareness, that conscious awareness, then we cannot hope for bliss to turn, suffering to turn into bliss, and falsehood into truth. Falsehood will still dominate, and death will be ruling us.
Vladimir, I have a question. Mother got rid of falsehood or death? No.
None
She
of
got
them. No, she transformed the consciousness in light. That means the darkness into light, and suffering into bliss. These two asuras were converted. That means it doesn't mean that suffering disappears or darkness disappears. It means that asuras, so those who were ruling the universe in that way, were converted. They are no more rulers. And all her life she tried to convert falsehood, who was the Lord of the nations, as you know. And falsehood is the Lord of the nations, who started the Second World War. It was him. He wanted then a massacre, and he was the leader of Hitler. Hitler was worshipping him. Hitler was receiving his support and full protection. That's why it was so important to destroy Hitler more than anyone else, because there, through Hitler, this falsehood was working. And he called himself the Lord of Nations. Interesting choice. He is afraid of nations, actually, because nations is the awakening of the psychic in social framework. And that will destroy this Lord of falsehood. So he hijacked it. He hijacked the very idea of nations. And that's why nationalism became, even now, it is a negative word. Because he marred it with his own, Nazi. Nazi is National Socialism is not nationalism. It is something else altogether. On one side, we had National Socialism of the Hitler, and on the other, we had International Socialism of Stalin, which is another big evil thing. Bigger than even National Socialism of Hitler. As Churchill said after Yalta, in Yalta they had the last conference after the Second World War. He said, "Oh, we killed not that pig. We slaughtered not that pig, which was there to be slaughtered." Stalin's fascism, international fascism, had to be slaughtered. Now we have it. It comes back in the form of Putin. It's kind of interesting to think how this all developed. She could not convert the Lord of Falsehood, and she tells us about this in Agenda. You can read about this. And she always had contact with him because her husband was the Vibhuti of the Lord of Falsehood, Pierre Richard. What I'm saying, Paul Richard, not Pierre. You see, this falsehood is already here on the tongue. Doesn't want to hear the name of Voldemort. Paul Richard. He was the Vibhuti, and she said that she had to keep him close to herself. She wanted to convert this falsehood. And the last one was the Lord of Death, and that was, as you know, it was the Max Theon. Max Theon was the Vibhuti of the Lord of Death. But she never could manage it. So first two asuras are converted, but next two asuras are on the ground of these two asuras. They are deeper into manifestation, much deeper rooted, and much more difficult to uproot. But with supramental manifestation, it becomes possible. Uprooting of the falsehood. Supramental manifestation is exactly working upon falsehood, upon the truth, supermind. Truth and falsehood. This is the supramental transformation which will change the falsehood into truth. And that will cause the change of death into immortality. Now we have the whole scheme.
Well, we'll have to be born many times to be in that.
You're very practical. Let's do it. Let's go and it's so interesting. Why to waste our time in this philosophizing? Let's start with doing the transformation. There is some kind of Shakti in Shaktis. They immediately want to do things right. We are blessed to have this knowledge from Sri Aurobindo. And you know it is absolutely true. It's not something symbolic only. It sounds symbolic to people who do not know Sri Aurobindo. I can imagine how bewildered they are. They're listening to it, some kind of fairy tale, yes, endless. Some strange words. But everything is built upon everything. So the whole vision comes slowly. You can see clearly what we are and what we are doing here, what we are here for, how far we have to go. And most probably that evolution, the last evolution with supermind and soul rising to its utmost, will be infinite evolution, evolution without end. With the supermind and the soul, with the nature, supreme nature, and the soul totally manifested in nature, that evolution will be infinite. That last one, yes, from 19 to 22 in the scheme. It will go infinitely into the supreme. As Sri Aurobindo says, from light to greater light, from truth to greater truth. Yeah. No end. No end of learning something from the infinity. But there will be no darkness, no suffering anymore. There will be bliss, from bliss to greater bliss. How nice it will be soon.
That is why we study the Gita, Savitri,
Yes, absolutely.
Vedas, and then we get the knowledge, and then we know that we are full of possibilities. So let's start today. Integral yoga.
Absolutely.
We have to move forwards. We have to push forwards.
Yes, let's start today
Everything is true.
and every day. Yeah, it sounds like this. We have to start every day. Every day, every moment of our life, we begin. We should never give up. There is no way we can give up. I was watching the other day film, and the guy was fighting for the thing, and then he was killed, and then he was brought back to life, And when he woke up, he said, "But I failed. I don't want to do it again." And the other guy tells him, "Well, you failed. You have to go on. You have to fail again." Fail and fail and fail again. This is our path, failing always, every day, failing. And there is no other path. Until the work is done. And even then there will be evolution from light to greater light. So this Surya, now you can see what Surya plays the role. It's a central role. It brings the Satchitananda into action. That means fallen emanations. Then it precipitates them, yes, with the soul's power. And then there is the evolution of the soul in nature till it comes to the supermind. And then again, it brings the supramental force into nature where the soul is already awakened, yeah, and in front, and starts changing nature and soul together in the infinite evolution. So we all are in the sun, by the sun, with the sun, through the sun, and sun is the very, very beginning and the end, alpha and omega of our journey. Robin switched on.
Yeah, I had a thought
Yes.
as you were saying all of this, going back to what you said in the very beginning about things being half done. And I know when I look back on my life, I think about all of the things I could have done that I didn't do. And I think that the sun, as you were saying, the sun shining through each one of us, how bright or how dim is that light shining through us? If we had no obstructions in us, it would shine brightly and brilliantly, and then we would really do things as they should be done. But because we only have, we've got everything neck down by our limitations, by all of us, stupidity, then there's a little hole and the sun shines through that little hole and there's a little light in our life and we don't do much. I think, that's to me, I think of what I could have done if I'd really been full on and bright. And the fact of the matter is, I wasn't, I was in some instances at certain times in my life. I was brighter than at other times, but I would long for that. That's something I would really like, is to really be bright.
It's very interesting what you said. So you, first of all, everything, our stupidity is darkness, dullness, everything is the work we are to do here. So it is something we took onto ourselves. So this load of the fallen emanations to redeem them and to change them. So we are that load. It is our field of action. So we cannot refuse it. If it is there, that is there. It tells you what it is. So how to deal with it, this is the first involution, first fallen emanations. It's our background or our foundation to which we came. Our bodies are made of this stuff.
Yeah.
We took onto ourselves consciously this stuff to work with. And then there is this individual soul which is evolving. And there you can complain and saying, oh, I was not really individualized enough or aware enough to do the thing with this load. This load overtook me and I lost my track and I became the load and so on and so forth. That's what we are doing. We are constantly dealing with these two issues. We are always double. We are always having ongoing dialogue. Did you notice? Dialogue, what should I do? What should I survive? Should I manage here in the way how the nature works? Or should I be myself? To be or not to be? This is the ongoing dialogue. Every day, every second of our life, there is a choice between to be the nature, the Lord, or to be the soul, which is coming to change the nature and make it divine. What will you do? And every time we fail, but the soul is not going to fail anyhow. We fail until it is, we are just bored to fail. We don't want to fail anymore. It's not interesting. It's not attracting. Failure is not attracting. That means soul is stronger already. It has more luminosity in the instruments. In the instruments, in the Lord. That's what we have to enlighten, the Lord. And once it is more transparent, if it is not transparent, you cannot do much. You cannot do. You can reject it, as sannyasins did. They rejected all the load and said, no, I am the soul. I don't want to deal with this. And I go. You have your load with yourself. I don't want to deal with it. But this is not a solution for us. This double nature, what you said, is amazing. If you start analyzing and seeing what is happening, you have always a choice to be either the past or to be the future. Choose yes or no. You can always, either you go to the future where you are supposed to go, or you fall into the past, which is much easier to fall, because you have to switch off all the effort, all the consciousness, all the aspirations. Switch off. Just fall and become lazy. And the moment, as Mother said, we are satisfied with what we achieved, we start falling back. This satisfaction with, I put so much effort, I deserve, acknowledgement. I deserve my pension. The moment you got your pension and acknowledgement, you fall again, die, become nothing. So this is a constant ongoing battle between the two involutions, two manifestations. First is the nature, fallen emanations, the habitat which we took onto ourselves, and the other is the soul, the dharma of the nature. Nature also is doing a work of the divine, and the work of your soul, swadharma. There is a constant ongoing interaction between the two, you and nature, your nature, my nature, my body, my vital, my mind. And you can choose what to be for them. You can choose how to feel, you can choose what to think, you can choose what to do, what to say, what to think, what to feel, what to be in the body. You can do it. This is a great second transformative evolution, what we are undergoing. That from 13 from death in the matter to 16, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then help comes. This distinction between me and myself, like we were joking about Shakespeare saying that my eyes betrayed me, my mouth carried me away, something. this is a very good intuition, you know, my eyes betrayed me. So to say, that means there's someone there and your eyes are not really you. Yeah? So you took this nature onto yourself and now you're dealing through this nature with the reality. And that is the ongoing perspective. It's beautiful when you see our life like this adventure of consciousness. It becomes interesting. You can do so many things, change everything.
Like you said, we are Nara and Narayana.
Mm.
So we have Narayana with us all the time.
Yeah,
We
in the
just don't
individual
know.
form. Yeah. You remember the story of Nara Narayana? There was one king who wanted to find, it was a very ambitious king. He wanted to conquer Nara and Narayana because he heard they are the strongest. Nara is the individual soul and Narayana is the universal soul, yeah, like the divine. And so he went, somebody told him that he has to go to Himalayas, and he went with his armies to Himalayas to find Nara Narayana. And there he met one guy in the mountains, and he asked him, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Nara." And he said, "Okay, prepare to fight." And all his armies released the arrows, you know, and the arrows like a cloud flew onto Nara. And Nara took the blade of grass and threw into the air, and that blade of grass became the cloud of arrows and destroyed all the cloud of arrows flying onto him, and the other half of that cloud destroyed all his armies. And then this king standing in front of him alone, looking at this Nara, saying, "But what is this all?" He said, "It's nothing. I'm only Nara, but Narayana." And then, "But Narayana, you don't want to meet Narayana." With this attitude, you know, to fight. You remember Babylonian Tower, the same story. The king was so ambitious, he shot the arrow into the sky. He wanted to fight the god, and God answered with lightning, and the whole Babylonian tower crushed. You want to fight Narayana? Be my guest. Even Nara you can do. Sri Aurobindo speaks that there is a great force in the great power, like nuclear power, within the soul. Our soul is very mighty. We just don't know that. Yeah. And it is even dangerous sometimes if somebody is trying to harm your soul, not your body, not your habitat, not your instruments with which you are working, because that has to be undone and redone all the time. You know, we have to work with our instruments. But your soul, then the soul may answer in such a powerful way that it could be a very big destruction, like a blast reel on the physical level. It's quite interesting to know this. Yeah, I never kind of thought of.
I already paid, they're all set, so.
Oh.
As soon as they get done with your office, then you can go back up, but they're just getting started, but I paid and gave them tips.
Super, thank you.
I'll be back.
I occupied Radha's office. So she's homeless now. She has to go home.
Vladimir, how does one harm one's a different soul? How does that happen?
Doesn't happen. But if there is danger, they see you're cornered in that sense, there could be a very unpredicted blast from the soul. most probably sometimes we see it in, I do not know, in some form, fairy tales like curses, yeah, big curse. Yeah?
I was thinking of that when the sages and seers of long time ago used to suddenly give a curse, like in the Mahabharata and Ramayana.
Yeah, which can destroy the whole nation or,
Sure.
yeah.
I think Sri Aurobindo talks about that also in his commentary on the Gita, about how if you're trying to be nonviolent and just using soul force, that sometimes the repercussions of that can be way more destructive than simple violence.
Because violence is between instruments, you know, and when there is a soul involved, this is a serious matter. The divine is involved as a weapon, and that's like not a small thing. Like I think Jesus was that weapon, yeah, that soul weapon, which created a big change. All these avatars are the soul's weapons. You know? They make changes in nature, drastic changes. So we should not underestimate our soul's power. Call for it. He speaks in this way that once you're cornered and you call for the soul's help, your own psychic help, that help may come and could be very damaging for the attackers. Well, it's just an additional thought.
Hmm.
This, what we discussed today, is actually the knowledge, knowing which everything can be known. From this knowledge, you can arrive at every explanation, every way of looking at things. You can term them yourself, your way as you like. You can make your own terms, describe it as you like. But this, if this is the formation or understood what is happening here in this creation, then there is a way to explain everything. Dharma, Swadharma, and Sanatana Dharma, three dharmas, three cycles. Here we are. Dharma is the first, Swadharma is the second creation, and Sanatana Dharma is the third. We see that everything falls into this framework of thinking, where whatever the approach you may take or the language you choose, you can coin your own language, doesn't matter, but it has to coincide with this knowledge. And then you will never be wrong. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You can't be wrong because you know what you're doing, what you are here for, what is your mission, your being is doing here. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Great. Okay, that was strange meeting today, but because I was misplaced in the office, I guess. So without a computer on the laptop. Next time we will look into this hymn from the 10th mandala, Surya Savitri, from this perspective of the creation and as the origin and the aim of the creation, as the beginning and the end, Surya. Great. Okay, I will close with mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste.
Mhm.